We're talking about compound interest today. I love the topic. I hope you do too, but we're going to talk about what they don't tell you about compound interest. Hey, I'm Kaleb Paddock, founder of 10 Talents Financial Planning, and I'm really excited that you're watching the webinar today. We're going to dive into a very common topic in the investment world, financial planning. You've likely heard the term compound interest. Albert Einstein calls this the eighth wonder of the world, but we're going to go a little bit under the hood into this eighth wonder and talk a little bit about what they don't tell you about compound interest. So let's dive in here. I'm going to share my screen. While I do that, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, right underneath here, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel as well while I'm sharing my screen. This will just give you the opportunity to be notified of new videos. If you spend any time on YouTube, this is a great way for me to be able to communicate with you as just someone who likes these videos, or perhaps you're even a client of 10 Talents. Thank you for watching. Glad to have you on here and looking forward to sharing some information with you today. So today's March 31st. I'm coming to you live from beautiful Parker, Colorado. We're going to talk about compound interest today. So here's what you're told. Okay, we're going to dive right in. You're typically given a graph like this, and basically you're told start young. And if you do, things will work out well. If you don't, boo for you. Well, I want to go deeper than that. So we're not going to go deep into this, but it's basically showing, you can probably read this. It might be a little bit small font, but giving you three people. So let's start in the middle. Bill. Bill invests $5,000. He's in the green. He's the lowest on there. He starts at age 35 and invests till 65, $5,000 a year. But he's the lowest on the chart because Bill starts at 35 instead of 25. So this is typically what you're told. Start young. 25 is better than 35. Yada, 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 right? And that's true, right? It's yada, yada, but it's, it's what we're always told, right? The folks on the left and right, Susan is kind of the gray, kind of dotted line a little bit there in the middle, and then Chris is in the blue line, the much sharper graph. And the difference between Susan and Chris then is Susan invests $5,000 a year from 25 to 35 and stops. So she stops when Bill starts, but she ends up ahead of Bill, right? Because she started younger. She only invested $50,000. Bill, the lowest green line at the bottom, invested 3 times as much, $150,000 for 30 years, $5,000 a year, but never catches up to Susan because Susan started earlier. But Chris is the coup de grace. Chris did $5,000 a year every year from 25 to 65. He invests a total of $200,000 and ends up with over $1.1 million. This is what you're told. Start young, keep at it, things will work out well for you, okay? I think if you're watching this and you have any amount of investing background, you've heard this, but there's a couple problems. The first is when I talk to clients who are older than 25 years old, they say, oh man, I wish I would have known this when I was younger. Oh man, and it's a message that is not well received. Maybe you're thinking that now. Maybe you're not 25 watching this and you're thinking, oh man, what could have been? I want to flip the script on that. I want to teach you how compound interest really works. And even if you're watching this at 50, 60, 70 years old, compound interest can work for you if you understand what's really going on here. So here's what you're not being told. Same graph, right? I'm going to draw on the screen a little bit here and show you what you're not being told. What you're not being told is that the bulk of this growth is happening in the final stages of the graph, final stages of your life. This is not happening. Even if you start in your 20s or 30s or 40s, you are not seeing the real benefits of compound interest until much later. The bulk of compounding's magic happens way, way, way on the back end. This is what you're not told about compound interest, and this is what discourages many people. This is how the charlatans capture the hearts and minds of people putting money away every month from their paycheck, and they say, oh, that 401k, that brokerage account, oh, that stupid saving every month, that's not the way to build wealth. I've got a hot investment fund. Let's buy something hot and cool, some kind of multi-level marketing genius, and let's attract your eyes this way. And because people hear about the magic of compound interest, but they don't experience it right off the bat or even in the first, as we'll see, 10, 15, 20 years, they are seduced by these get rich quick or get rich faster, right? I think we all kind of know, let's avoid the get rich quick, but we all kind of are like, get rich faster. Well, that sounds good. It's not quick, it's just faster. And we're seduced by that because we do not understand the core tenets of compound interest because it is not intuitive. The math is not intuitive, and we're going to dive into that next. You need to watch these videos. I will have these in the show notes. So again, if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Once you've done that, look in the show notes below this video, down here below, and I'm gonna have clips to this Morgan Housel clip where he talks about how compound interest is not intuitive. If you think you're mathematically minded, it's still not intuitive. If you're not mathematically minded, it will truly blow your mind what goes on with compound interest, because our minds are more arithmetic. Our minds are not built for geometric and exponential growth. We're more 2 + 2 is 4. Compound interest is exponential, and our minds can't really process that naturally. We have to adjust our thinking. So Morgan talks about that in this clip. It's a shorter clip. I also want you to watch this video on Bob. So Bob is the world's worst market timer. I apologize if your name is Bob. He's just a cartoon character in this video. Very, very powerful videos. I'm recording this in March of 2021. Markets at all-time highs, and people wondering, should I be invested? Should I get in? Should I get out? Should I panic? Etc., etc. Watch this video on Bob, the world's worst market timer. Has a lot to do with how compounding works and how it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where we're at with the market. The market is hitting all-time highs more than it's hitting all-time lows. So not a big surprise, at least from my end, that we're hitting all-time highs, because that is actually more common than hitting all-time lows. We also want to set expectations. So before we dive into some visuals and learning a little bit about Warren Buffett and his history with investing and understanding this exponential curve, the rule of 72 is important. So some of you may have heard of this. If you haven't, let's learn about it. If you have, just bear with me. Let's reiterate. Let's educate ourselves. Let's remember what is true about this rule of 72. So the rule of 72 says that if you divide, so if you do 72 divided by your rate of return, so let's use a 7% rate of return. If you get a 7% rate of return over time, your money will double about every 10 years. 72 divided by 7 is just over 10. So your money will double roughly every 10 years if you get a 7% return. So let's say you have $250,000. If you don't add any money to it right now, in 10 years with a 7% average, right, you'll likely never get that. Watch my other video on investing principles. You'll probably never get 7 in any given year, but you might average 7 over time, smashing all the returns together, dividing by 10. You may get 7, and if you do, you can understand that every 10 years your money will double. So let's say you have $250,000 right now. If you do nothing, if you let your money grow, let capital markets do their thing, over the next 10 years your money will double to $500,000. If you let it sit, you don't tinker, you don't blow yourself up, you don't say I'm scared, you don't panic, you let it go another 10 years, your $500,000 becomes $1 million. And that's how $250,000 becomes $1 million over 20 years, right? Just at 7%. You know, people would say, a measly 7%. I was in GameStop. I got that in 2.5 minutes. That's not real investing. So we can do this with other numbers. Like you could take 72 and you say, well, Caleb, I've got a hot manager for you. I know a buddy in New York. They can do better than 7. They can do 9. All right. Well, I don't know why I put a percent here. 72 divided by 9, your money will double roughly every 8 years. So you squeeze in the orange, but instead of your money doubling every 10 years, your money will double every 8 years. So you can just keep doing this and have fun with it. Divide by 72. 72 divided by your rate of return, your interest rate, your growth rate. That's how long it will take to double your money. Of course, when you factor in your contributions, if you're accumulating before retirement, or you factor in rebalancing, buying low when you're in retirement. That's a way to buy in during retirement. If you're not working a job, you're going to rebalance, you're going to buy more when we have these big crashes. It's like avocados are on sale. When avocados are 20 for $1, we're having guacamole and chips, right? We're going to buy a lot of avocados. If we like avocados and we like guacamole, we're not afraid when Sprouts or Safeway, Kroger's, King Soopers has 20 avocados for $1. We don't go, oh, I'm a little bit worried. Oh, what's wrong with the avocado? We buy a lot of avocados and we have guacamole. So that's what you do in retirement, to buy in more. But if you're in your accumulation stage, having a big decline in the market, you can buy more. That just helps that rule of 72 work faster. So if you're contributing, if you're rebalancing, buying more when the market is tanking, then that rule of 72 will go faster, okay? So hopefully that's helpful. Reach out to me if it doesn't make sense or you want to review it. So which would you rather have? Let's look at this together. Before we go into the question, Dwight Eisenhower, President of the United States in the 1950s, says plans are worthless, but planning is everything. This comes up all the time with clients. What is the point? What is a financial plan? What is financial planning? And I would agree with Mr. Eisenhower. Plans are worthless. If I give you a 40 or 50 page PDF, it is worthless the minute I send it to you through email or to your secure vault. That doesn't mean it was pointless, right? The plan can give us a trajectory. It can clear our mind to tell us, okay, we are on a solid path forward, but it's the planning, ING, planning, the ongoing process, that is everything. That's where it's at. And as we work together, you notice this. You see like, wow, as we work this out, as we take advantage, as we optimize, it's the planning rather than the plan, singular. The plan you can get on Schwab for basically free. Google, there's lots of online calculators. Go do that if you just want a plan or a one-time, oh, look, there's my calculation. It's the planning, which is everything. And so we want to remember that. And I love this quote by President Eisenhower. So which would you rather have, $5 million today or 1 penny, a copper, well, they're not, I don't think they're made out of copper anymore, but a copper penny that doubles every day for a month. So this is going to lead us down a path. You may be skeptical here. It's a big number, 5 million. I could be doing one of two things right now. I could be tricking you, and it's better to have 5 million today. The question is worded so that you may think, well, maybe I shouldn't take the 5 million. But the question is worded in such a way that I could be tricking you, and you should take the 5 million. Or you might think, oh, but that's what you want me to think. You're baiting me. I'm learning something new in this webinar. Compound interest is the theme, so maybe I should take the penny. But I'm giving you some clues. After 10 days, you have $10.24. Okay, so you got a question. Am I baiting you? Am I trying to trick you with the $5 million? 5 million, however he does that, $1 million. Is it 5 million today or the penny? The single tiny copper penny that doubles every day for a month. After 10 days, you're being laughed at. Okay, this is many people's investing experience. Your friends are out blowing their money, spending what they don't have to impress people they don't like. And this is many people's experience. They invest. And 10 days in, 10 years, right? Let's change the time period. 10 years in, you got $10.24. And the person who's living it up is saying, you idiot, we're having fun. You have $10 with this stupid investing thing. It's not working. That 401k, that IRA, saving every paycheck, stupid. You stupid. Like we're living it up. This is many people's real life experience. Let's be real. This is what people experience. They're 10 years in and they're thinking, I should have just lived it up, right? What am I doing? Why am I putting money every paycheck away? Okay, let's flip the page. Okay, so I want you to process this for a moment here. Yes, it is remarkable to go from a penny to 10,486, right? So after 20 days, you're at 10. You're still being laughed at, right? If you decline the 5 million, you're still being laughed at. It feels like you didn't do the right decision. But I want to show you what happens between days 20 and 30, and particularly if you get out your calculator, this happens between days 25 and 30, the last 5 days. If you're looking at this saying I can't wrap my mind around days, like 30 days, a month, switch it to years. Switch this to years, okay? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Wow, look what happens here. By the 30th day, you have over $10 million from that penny, just doubling every day. So you just take the previous day's amount and double it. Now, I'm not telling you I have an investment that doubles every day or an investment that doubles every year. That is not the point, okay? Let's move on from that. Okay, that's not the point. The point is compound interest is mind-boggling, and we don't really see it until the back end, okay? We're going to talk about why this is so hard to process, juxtaposed against financial and retirement planning. If you're an investor today, you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it doesn't matter where you're at, you need to understand this, okay? Let's look at Warren Buffett's net worth. Warren Buffett's net worth. The numbers here are in the millions. Like he has $1 million in his 30s. That's not the point of showing you this. The point is to visualize what's happening. Over 90% of Warren Buffett's net worth happened after age 60, after age 65. Okay? After age 65. If he would have stopped or just retired at a normal, at a normal or did an early retirement, you would not have necessarily heard of him. He would have just been an investor who did very well, but he wouldn't be called the greatest of all time. Not only has Warren Buffett done very well with investing, the real secret sauce is very boring. The real secret sauce is he started so young and so much time has gone by. Okay? And if you're watching this, remember I said earlier, a common takeaway from a compound interest discussion is I should have started earlier. Let me let you in on a little secret. If you're 60 years old today, 65, 70 years old, your life expectancy in this country, life expectancy and mortality is different if you calculate it at age 60, 65 versus including infant mortality. If you're 60, 65 today, it is very likely that you are going to live into your 80s, your 90s, or your triple digits into your hundreds. And so if you're 60, do not take away from this webinar, I should have started younger. Your takeaway is this. This period here, this is coming. Okay? This end zone, final 2-3 decades, this period down here, day 30, you're not at day 30 yet. Okay? You're at day 20. Okay? I don't care how much or how little you think you have. You have not missed out on compound interest. If you feel that you don't have a long life expectancy for whatever reason, you may have children. You may have a spouse, a surviving spouse who outlives you. You may have grandchildren, okay? This over here is going to happen if you and your family let it happen. But you have to understand this and understand the power on the back end. Compounding doesn't happen on the front end. It happens way, way, way in the back end. So why is retirement planning so hard? Charlie Munger is famous for saying, ideally, never interrupt the process of compounding. okay? Ideally, right? So this is why retirement planning is so hard. Once you see this, your eyes are open of like, wow, like sure would be nice to just not interrupt the accounts and just let this magic work on the back end. But what we're doing in retirement planning is we are intentionally interrupting the process, okay? We're saying, we need the money, pump the brakes. We're gonna stop this compounding process, right? And that's not wrong, right? This is a wonderful age we live in, that we have this ability to consider and ponder retirement. What does that mean? 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you died in the field behind the plow. Retirement, you worked and there was no retirement. So we live in a golden age in terms of leisure and the ability to have this, myself have this profession, and you and I discuss retirement and the potential of not having to work till we die. That is a wonderful opportunity, but we are interrupting the compounding process. And this is why retirement planning is so hard, is this compound interest is still a fact of investing nature, but we are interrupting the process and we're digging in to the portfolio right at the moment. We are on the back end of that compounding formula. And so this takes careful thought and this takes careful planning to be able to ideally let the accounts keep compounding, but then carve out, okay, we're gonna peel off some of the portfolio to live off of, okay? This is why when you come to me or a client comes to me and says, hey, look, lo and behold, I thought I would love having 24/7 free time, but I've got a friend and they've got a cool little business. They're gonna pay me, $1,000, $2,000 a month just to consult, advise, speak to the youngins, about whatever the topic is. And I hear this and I say, good for you, right? We need work. We notice that work is a good thing. It's just we like it on our terms, not our boss's terms. So work is a good thing, and many people realize this in retirement and find, maybe it's volunteer, maybe it's a small amount of pay. But I love hearing this, not only because of the human benefits of the interaction with others, having purpose and something bigger than ourselves to go and pour into the lives of other people through work. What's great on the portfolio side is even if it's just $1,000 a month, and you're just like, that's not much. It's $1,000 a month that doesn't come out of the portfolio and that just keeps compounding in your accounts, right? It makes a huge, huge impact on the plan once you understand this power of compounding. So this is why it's so hard, is we're intentionally interrupting the process, but we also want to do it wisely so that we can kind of harness this back end compounding and do it well. So I want to thank you for watching. This has been a webinar on compound interest. Check out those links in the show notes, in the comment section below this video. If you're a client or you are not a client and you're curious to talk more about this, here's my link on the screen, calendly.com/10talentsfp. That's my calendar to book some time to talk more about this. My phone number is here, email, website. Feel free to share this webinar, watch it again if you needed to double check something. But I want to thank you. Remember to check out those videos that I shared with you. Morgan's video. Morgan wrote The Psychology of Money. If you're a 10 Talents client, you should have a copy of The Psychology of Money, or it's on the way to you. It will be mailed to you. But Morgan is great. He's in one of the videos. And then Bob, the world's worst market timer. Check out these videos. And I want to thank you for allowing me to speak to you today on this topic of compound interest. I hope it was interesting and maybe intriguing on many levels. So thank you again. I'm signing off. You have a great rest of your day.